Do you know this book? It's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And when entrepreneurs are asked what's the most impactful book that they've read, so often it is this book. It's this book that entrepreneurs say that they read this book and it gives them a new perspective that is impactful for the rest of their life. And like it's pretty rare for a fiction book to hold that status because entrepreneurs, by and large, tend to be more drawn to nonfiction, I think, than fiction. Certainly, if I look at my own bookshelf, granted, I've tried to switch a lot in recent years towards more fiction, but I know that my bookshelf of books that I think are impactful, it's fiction or it's nonfiction, right? So. The Alchemist, what's in it? What are its lessons? I would strongly encourage you to read all of these lessons in context, to read the book, to get the story. It's a very light and easy read and pretty engaging. And yet I wanted to pull out a lot of specific quotes about life, about achievement, I suppose, about following your heart. That are especially impactful, and share them with you today in today's episode. And the way that I'm going to do that, I have 20 quotes from the book, and I'm just going to give quick insights and reflections on each of the quotes. So with that said, let's dive into the notes here. Much of the book is centered around this idea of your personal legend. Your personal legend. Everyone, when they are young, knows what their personal legend is. At that point in their lives, everything is clear and everything is possible. They're not afraid to dream and to yearn for everything they would like to see happen to them in their lives. So when we're young, it's easy to dream about what we want our life to be, what we want to achieve, the things that we want to have happen, the things that we would like to make happen. And I think through life, as we run into obstacle after obstacle and hear naysayer after naysayer, it's easy for us to start to internalize the struggles, the challenges, the hardships, the roadblocks, the things preventing us, the things that are standing in our way. And then it's easy for us to forget the personal legend, that thing that we want to do, to be, to become, to have, to achieve, the work that we want to do in the world. And it's important. I suppose one of the lessons that we learn in the book is that it's important to not give up on your personal legend. Next quote, no matter what he does, every person on earth plays a central role in the history of the world, and normally he doesn't know it. And so your activities in the world, your behavior in the world, your interactions with the world are making a difference. And a lot of times the differences are invisible to you because you are impacting this person who's impacting this person who's impacting this person who's impacting this person who's impacting this person. And you don't see, the second, third, or fifth, 10th, 1000th order impact of your work. And yet what you are doing consistently is making an impact. It's sending out ripples through the world. And there are probably things that you can do to impact the world in very positive ways. There's also things you can do to impact the world in negative ways. What's important to remember is that even if your life seems small, you are making probably a bigger impact than you realize. And you have an opportunity to guide what that is. Remember that wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. That's the next quote. Remember where your heart is where you'll find your treasure, right? And so if you are pursuing something, pursuing your treasure, pursuing your personal legend, you remember that staying in touch with your heart, staying in communication with your heart, that's how you are going to find your treasure. And there's a lot of external treasures that we can pursue, things out in the world that we can pursue. And we can spend our entire life on that hero's journey of our life. It's important to remember that our treasure is inextricably linked to what is in our heart and where our heart is focused. Your obligation. What is your obligation to the world? To realize one's destiny is a person's only real obligation. That quote is actually so important that it's on the back of this 25th anniversary edition of the book, a slightly shortened version of the quote. To realize one's destiny is a person's only real obligation. So we can think about all the obligations that we have and the obligations that we have to other people, to the world, to whatever. But the question is, what is your destiny? What is your personal legend? What is your calling? And your main job in life is to realize that calling, right? And I can't say what it is for you. That's kind of major point here. It's up to you, right? Your obligation. Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own. This is a good reminder here that lots of people are going to tell you lots of things about what your destiny, your obligation, your calling is. But you have to listen to yourself, and they should be listening to themselves. They need to be talking to themselves about how they need to live their lives, right? And so I'm going to give you permission here to, listen less to the voices of other people and more to yourself in terms of dictating how you are going to pursue your destiny, your personal legend, and let other people worry about themselves. That you do you saying that seems to have come up in the last 10 years or so. That's good response when somebody is telling you what you need to go do with your life, right? I appreciate your input. You definitely can take charge of your own life, and I will take charge of mine. Thank you for your input. Right? Every blessing ignored becomes a curse. So this is one of those things where it becomes more and more salient through time. If we ignore our destiny, if we ignore our opportunity, if we ignore our blessings, right? They become a curse to us. They become even the act of ignoring is something that creates this negative emotion, this negative feeling. And that in itself is the curse, that if we are ignoring our potential, ignoring our personal legend, ignoring our sense of destiny, ignoring our heart, ignoring our calling, we will feel pain. And so our obligation is to not ignore the blessings. What you can and cannot do. This is important, I think, especially like as we're getting into all of this, I want to remember that I'm talking to entrepreneurs, I'm talking to marketers, I'm talking to people who are putting messages out into the world, and oftentimes who will put those messages out in the world in face of potential failure, right? And so what you can and cannot do, people are capable at any time in their lives of doing what they dream of. You're capable of doing what you dream of. Now, it may not get you the result that you dream of, but you're capable of doing what you dream of. And in fact, interestingly, in the book, without spoiling too much, doing what the main character, the boy, dreams of, and doing and getting the result that he dreams of, those don't necessarily line up one for one. And that's very true in life, right? And there is only, the next quote, there is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure. There is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure. And so you want to do something big, right? You want to go out and do what you dream of, right? It will not be possible to do it if you fear failure, right? Or at the very least, if you let the fear of failure stop you. I think that's an important part of this lesson, right? if you want to achieve whatever dream, no matter how large it is, you must start by acting in the face of the fear of failure, not letting the fear of failure stop you from action. This is courage, right? Courage is not doing dumb things, right? Courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is acting in the face of the fear of failure, right? And so if you let the fear of failure stop you, then your dream is impossible to achieve. But if you don't let it stop you, well, you're capable of doing what you dream of. More about the fear of failure here, because this is such an important topic. And these are longer quotes. People are afraid to pursue their most important dreams because they feel that they don't deserve them or that they're unable to achieve them. This is actually the boy's heart speaking to him. We, their hearts, become fearful just thinking of loved ones who go away forever, or of moments that could have been good but weren't, or of treasures that might have been found but were forever hidden in the sands. So it is easy for our heart to get lost in these feelings of not deserving or being unable to achieve. And the challenge, I guess, in pursuing your personal legend and pursuing your dreams is recognizing that, yeah, your heart may feel fear, right? Your heart may feel fear about all these things. And you still have to pursue your most important dreams, right? You may feel that you don't deserve it. You may feel that you'll be unable to achieve it, and you try anyway, right? You're better off trying and failing than never having tried at all because of the fear of failure. Think about that blessing that turns into a curse, that regret that comes, right? Don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. That's the next quote. Don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. So much of that courageous action is in speaking to your heart and saying, you know, it's okay, heart. I understand that you're feeling afraid right now, right? And we're going to try this anyway, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. No matter what, it's going to be okay, right? So don't give in to your fears. If you do, that you won't be able to talk to your heart. Next quote, tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. So reassure your heart, right? Like your fear that you're feeling right now is worse than that suffering that you might fear if what you're fearing comes true, right? And if you're going out in search of your dreams, there is a resilience and a deeper peace and joy in that than cowing to your fears, right? And the way that it's said here is it's every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity, right? I don't care what you believe about God in this. It's not like necessarily a religious book. There are actually a few different religions represented in the book. It's maybe more of a mystic spiritual book, I suppose. But it's about this moment, right? This moment of pursuing your dreams being an opportunity to connect with the divine, whatever it is, that thing that's bigger than you, that's bigger than us, that's bigger than the world, right? With all of creation happening right now, right? And pursuing your dreams is the way to connect with that. But expect to be tested. That's the next segment here. Before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does this not because it is evil, but so we can, in addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons we've learned as we've moved toward that dream. That's the point at which most people give up. It's the point at which, as we say in the language of the desert, one dies of thirst just when the palm trees have appeared on the horizon. So before you are going to get to the fulfillment of your dream, right? Before you're going to get to the realization of your dream, expect to be tested Expect to be tested hard, expect to be tested often. There will be challenges, there will be roadblocks, there will be failures, right? And that is where most people give up, when they're so close to the finish line. And you aim beyond those tests and beyond those challenges, and you keep persevering and you keep pursuing the dream. Because it is in passing those tests that the world throws in front of us that we truly do become masters of our dreams, masters of our destiny, right? That we are able to fulfill our personal legend and have the strength to hold on to it. Next quote, if you start out by promising what you don't even have yet, you'll lose your desire to work toward getting it. And I stuck this with this because it seems especially relevant to this. Like, if you start out by promising what you don't even have yet, if you start out by promising the end before you have it, then you're making an assumption, right? And you're making an assumption that creates fragility. You are less resilient when you assume that the end will come easily, right? And that's why, like, this is actually connected to a slightly different lesson in the book, that the boy has to actually, it has to cost him something up front for him to get what he wants. And that costing something up front is what motivates the desire to work towards getting it. And it's pretty consistent that if you're not willing to invest in yourself, you're going to have a very fickle desire and a very fragile confidence towards getting what you want, right? But if you invest in yourself up front, that confidence becomes stronger because you have to do it, right? It's going to be less fickle because you have to do it, right? And so again, if you start out by promising what you don't even have yet, you'll lose your desire to work towards getting it. Now, when you are in pursuit of your goal, the universe will conspire to help you. The quote here, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. You'll notice synchronicities. You'll notice things falling in place to support you. You'll notice the resources coming, the teachers coming, the helping hand coming, right? When you are in unequivocal pursuit of your dream, of your personal legend, you'll notice things coming together, and you can attribute that however you would like, but the universe is conspiring to help you achieve that. Life really is generous to those who pursue their personal legend. Life really is generous to those who pursue their personal legend. If you're out there and you're asking and you're telling people about the journey that you're on, and you're cooperating with the universe along the way, not if you're selfishly taking necessarily, but if you are cooperating with the universe in pursuit of your personal legend, the universe is readily generous to you in helping you achieve that. You know, things come together, and many of them, this next quote is the point that I was going to make. When someone makes a decision, he is really diving into a strong current that will carry him to places he had never dreamed of when he first made the decision. When someone makes a decision, he's really diving into a strong current that will carry him to places he had never dreamed of when he first made the decision. And so when you first make a decision, when you first decide to pursue your personal legend, when you first go after your dreams and seek to realize your dreams, you don't know what you're going to be capable of. You don't know the resources that are going to be made available. You don't know what's there waiting for you, right? And so if you're launching a new business, if you're looking to, create new campaigns, if you're looking to whatever it is, like launching new ventures is a great example here of when you start to get your own momentum. Momentum begets momentum, and people join you, right? And opportunities come to you, and you don't even know what those are going to be when you say, I'm going to do it, right? When you make that decision, you don't know what those are going to be. And so you make the decision and you trust that it's going to happen. So what's next? It's true that everything has its personal legend, but one day that personal legend will be realized. So if you're in pursuit of your personal legend, well, one day you're either going to be dead or you will have reached that personal legend. So each thing has to transform itself into something better and to acquire a new personal legend until someday the soul of the world becomes one thing only. And so it's this pursuit, this growth, until we are in communion, I suppose, with the soul of the world. And this pursuit of personal legend after personal legend, like sometimes it may feel a little selfish, sometimes it may feel extremely generous, sometimes it may feel like you're building something for the world. But it's just, you get to the horizon and you can see the next horizon, and you get to the next horizon and you can see the one after that. And that's what this is until you've, encircled the entire world. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. I keep thinking of the Dan Sullivan 4 C's as I'm going through this. And it starts with a commitment. And then you have to act with courage. And then you gain competence. And then you gain confidence through your competence for more, like for committing to bigger actions, right? And it's this never-ending upward spiral. If you are committing to bigger things, you're going to, number one, going to have to act with more courage every time you're committing to something bigger. But then you're going to gain more competence and then gain more confidence to commit to even bigger things, right? And it just lifts everything up around you as you do that. And if you want to improve your future, it's worth remembering this. The secret is here in the present. If you pay attention to the present, you can improve upon it. And if you improve on the present, what comes later will also be better. Forget about the future and live each day according to the teachings, confident that God loves his children. Each day in itself brings with it an eternity. The secret is here in the present. If you pay attention to the present, you can improve upon it. And if you improve on the present, what comes later will also be better. And so you think, okay, my personal legend is out in the future. My dream is so big. It's so grandiose. It's something that's untouchable, right? And so it always comes down to, and I've talked about this for years, it always comes down to, yes, but what can we do right now? What action do we take right now that will get us one step closer towards that bigger future that we have imagined, right? And we imagine that bigger future. And if we are lost in that bigger future, we are disconnected from really the present moment and what we need to do in the present moment. And so we have to be able to hold in our minds both this ideal future that we want to experience and the demands of the present moment for what we need to do now, right? To have this moment be great and have the next be great and the next be great and the next be great. And have each be a little step towards what comes later, right? If you improve on the present, what comes later will also be better. So you can't change the future. You can't just change the future. You can't transform the future in a snap, right? But you can improve on the present. And when you improve on the present, what comes later will also be better. And then importantly, there is only one way to learn. It's through action. Everything you need to know, you have learned through your journey. There is only one way to learn. It's through action. Everything you need to know, you have learned through your journey. Every action that you have taken has been an opportunity to learn. It's what's brought you to this present moment. And every action you take going forward is an opportunity to learn what you're going to do, to learn what you need for your next steps on the journey. And so every day I emphasize taking action, whether you're an entrepreneur, marketer, or some other human being. I emphasize taking action. Decide what you want and go after it. And my call to action for you at the end of this episode is ask yourself, which one lesson jumped out to you and how are you going to use it? Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you are a marketer or entrepreneur, because on a daily basis. I am releasing new content about marketing, copywriting, business building, and more. And you'll get more of that when you subscribe. Check the links in the description. There's multiple ways to subscribe. And I'll make sure to include a link to The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho on Amazon, so you can check that out. It is an excellent book. It's available in audiobook, which is how I have most recently gone through it. I also have, a physical copy myself. It's a good book. It's an excellent book. And I strongly encourage you dive deeper into the story that contextualizes all these lessons and it tells them in a very interesting way. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. See you soon. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.